and hello again. Thank you for tuning in to another Georgia Music Gamers podcast. It's me, your host, Cyber, and today we're doing a very special show. I mean, most of our shows are special, but this one is top notch because we're interviewing the one, the only, mynameJT, Justin Torres.
Yay!
Woo!
We got
That's me.
We got a full house. I guess the only person who hasn't actually been on a show before is Justin.
I did listen to the previous one.
And what did you think?
I liked it. And from what I hear, you've got a nice new layout. I bet it looks real cool.
It looks
Can't wait to
super
see it.
cool. And my face is actually lit, so you can actually see my face now. And
Right.
I got your favorite emoji in your background video going right now.
You might want to fix that later then, the lighting.
No, the lighting looks good now.
Got him.
But yeah, I'm glad you guys are listening again. Thank you for the people who are constantly listening and also for the new listeners that we have tonight. I appreciate it. Well, tonight and from when this recording goes up. And I think we're just going to get started. Basically, we're going to talk to Justin for this hour. We'll do something similar to what we did last week. We'll talk and then have some space for questions at the end. For those who don't know him, mynameJT, Justin DDRJT, goes by many names. He's a member of the community. He's generally well liked. I think most people who know him like him. And he's got a certain set of skills that we're going to talk about tonight.
But I don't live in Georgia. What am I doing here?
I know, right? It seems
Am
awkward.
I
Like,
allowed? Is it okay?
why are we interviewing someone who's not a Georgia native? But there's actually a pretty funny story behind that, and it's kind of how we got to know him in the first place. So some of us in the room. I see John is here, John Hannafin, and the Wort. They know specifically what I'm talking about, but we'll get to details later.
Stay tuned.
Stay
Gotta give 'em
tuned
something to look forward to.
later on in the podcast. So, who are you, Justin?
I am just a guy by normal means. Like I'm not. Last week you got like an actual published producer. I'm just me, just a guy who's been playing in the, I guess, as you say, the community for at least 18 years. It's 2018. So, because I'd say at least since about 2000, been playing these types of games, all the music games and things like that. So, and I've just been just in and around the different Midwest, and then when the internet got bigger, international communities and things like that.
What websites did you go to in those early days?
In the early days, well, the first one was the DDR GameFAQs forum, like the
Oh, wow.
just Dance Dance Revolution arcade, and that's really what it was. And then from there, we met a couple like local people because I was up in Wisconsin, and some people posted. They said, "Well, we're down in the Chicago suburbs. We've got it down here. We're at the GameWorks over in Schaumburg near Woodfield Mall." And so that's ended up meeting a bunch of people from there, and then became part of their the local, I guess, Beatmania, or the only music game forum at the time, which was the Seventh Step and Beatmania Freak Underground.
So these are these esoteric Midwestern sites that nobody heard about from down here, I'm sure.
Right, and it was just Chicago. There's like the Chicago suburbs group who played at GameWorks, and then there was like Disney Quest and stuff like in the city that I didn't get to go to because I was driving down from Wisconsin most of the time. But even that was, when we were playing at GameWorks, it was like, I think DDR 1.5, or I think they got third mix Korean at the time. And so we kept from the variety of different arcades. If it wasn't GameWorks, it was Super Just Games, which then became Capcom's Nickel City. And so we kept up on all the releases, even from like third mix to USA, fifth mix, and I think Max 2 were big releases that I remember. And then, of course, Extreme for like 10 years after that
Right,
came
yeah.
out.
It wouldn't be a long time until we got Supernova.
Hence the creative username DDRJT, which I pretty much just carried over through as many websites, forums as I could.
Awesome. And so you lived in America for a while, and
Right.
you were in the
Quite a while.
communities, and then at some point you moved to Japan temporarily.
Right. Then I did the thing. Sophomore year of college, I studied abroad in Tokyo for a year, and then came back, graduated, and did the teaching in English gig for 3 years, and that was in Gunma of Initial D fame.
Did you drift on any of the mountainsides?
I did not. Well, I did on my bike, but I didn't have personally a car. I didn't want to spend that kind of cash. But we were right by like Mount Akina and stuff, so we took some pilgrimages.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and that's kind of where I started realizing that Justin existed. I mean, he had made things before. Justin has a fairly successful YouTube channel, and a lot of what he did at that time while he was in Japan was he would go to stores and he would buy lots of different types of snacks and stuff. And he noticed early on that Japan had a very wide berth of Kit Kats, and they still kind of do. They do like regional specific Kit Kats and limited edition Kit Kats. And if you want to talk a little bit more about what you did with those Kit Kats.
Oh yeah, because I mean I did that because really I don't want to say the internet was in its infancy back then, but I mean for most of the time I was there, Facebook was still only college only, or it wasn't, there's not that big communities. There was a few, there's Beatmania style and things like that. So I was there just being there, doing kind of the precursor to all like the shipping services. I wasn't like side hustling, making money, but people would be like, hey, the 2DX Bible just got released, and I would run down to 7-Eleven to grab some for some people and things like that. So I did that whenever it was easy, but I wasn't again flipping McDonald's toys and things
Right,
like
yeah.
that.
Seems like
And
it almost seems like everybody I know who goes to Japan ends up doing that shipping thing. Like, hey, can you buy this off of Yahoo auctions and ship it to me? Can you go to
and it
the
was
the book off or
right,
whatever?
and it was helped me do more because there's only so many things that I personally knew or heard about. But then someone would say, hey, there's this cool show this weekend, and there's like a limited edition print they're selling or something. So then that would give me an excuse to get out there and just see more events than stuff we just would find out through regular channels.
Right, that's cool.
And then you mentioned like the Kit Kats and the reviews and things like that. I think the old blog might still be up. We might get some weird spyware if you try to go there. The blog was called, I think it might still be Japanese Cat with a K.com. Enter at your own risk. You might want to check it before you post a link. I don't have it yet. But it was just kind of even before I went to Japan, I started, I would say, collecting sodas when
Right, yeah.
I always really liked limited edition flavors and things like that. Oh yeah, it looks like the
Dead
domain.
site.
Sorry. Well, that's okay. Most of the stuff is, if it's not on YouTube, it's dead anyway. The like stuff like, I think it was when Mountain Dew Livewire came quote unquote back for that second summer. It was like limited edition 2002 or whenever it did. I'd have to go check because I still have it in my room over here somewhere. I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. And if there's going to be stuff that's going to go away and never come back again, I think like Pepsi Blue had done either shortly before, shortly after. I was like, I want to keep track of that type of stuff. So I always kept up on releases and things like that best I could. And then it got even cooler because Japan has just totally different stuff. It's not just like your mix of cherry and vanilla and lime like we get it here. They had, it was like the first day I stopped in and they had like Coke Carnival, and it was like, what the heck even is that? And I just drank it for myself and just post about it on the websites. And then most of the stuff I do is try to I guess, improve on something if somebody's not doing a good job and I
Hmm.
could do better type of thing.
Right.
Like a couple people had made some reviews and they were either like not informative or they're real super sarcastic, or if it was really just kind of like, oh, wacky Japan, oh, you won't believe what they have, and then didn't really talk about is this actually good or the details about the whatever they were drinking at the time. So I think it was when Pepsi White came out that I started. I didn't even have any equipment because when I was in college, I had campus equipment and cameras and things like that. So I actually had to borrow like a digital 8 handy cam that one of the elementary schools I was teaching at had in like their computer room, and I would take it home and just set up a little tripod, and that's where all those JT's J Treats videos, which should be up on the YouTube channel, at least a couple of them, because my original channel just got completely nuked
Yeah, there
and
was
for,
a
for, for copyright stuff.
unfortunate event where, and I think it was what was it music or something that they nicked you on or
I
something?
never, well, they never told me, or by the time I got to the site, it was just, hey, you're permanently disabled and we don't need to tell you why. And so if there were some strikes against it, there we go, in the chat, because I have all the videos still, but I didn't want to flood my current channel with it and dilute the brand, so to speak. But yeah, I think it was because I had the old early 4chan meme of the card crusher from the how to make people angry videos.
Right.
I ended up just stumbling across that actual DVD in a store and I bought it and I like ripped and I uploaded because there was no high quality versions of that. It was just like compressed GIFs and things like that. So I put it up, and I have a feeling like TV Tokyo was the one that said we don't like this, and so um,
This is what killed this channel.
right. So as far as I know, because I did have a lot of music on those Kit Kat reviews, which probably could have any one of any. There's I kind of made a point to keep everything really related. So the music in each episode was very themed. If it was like a green tea Kit Kat, as we posted in the chat, it would have green in the title or something like that. Or I always made sure I kept with the theme each one. So there's a lot of blatant, unfortunately, using copyrighted music. Um, and a lot of instrumentals and stuff like that. So especially nowadays with the instant strikes and how good they are with it, if it wasn't TV Tokyo with the Card Crusher stuff, it was the music in the background on my Kit Kat review videos that just got it axed.
That is precisely why we have a copyright-free theme song because I don't want to get wrecked by YouTube.
And yeah, since getting back and working and that type of stuff, it's important to not just be crazy with it, cavalier, and it's okay, with these parody videos, because if you can't do that, luckily they've all survived. I'm not just gonna hum along, do
Right.
acapellas, things like that.
Yeah. So yeah, Justin has a long history of editing videos. There's some really old videos that I could link to. I'm not sure if you want to talk about any of those. Did
Oh, like the high
the
school
yeah,
ones.
the ones from like '04.
Yeah, and those are always fun to go back and because that's what I did in high school. One of the classes I took, like an elective, it was video production, even though back then it was digital. Was still We originally did like an analog, I don't want to say reel to reel, but like editing on VHS tapes and things like
Is there
that.
one you want me to share?
uh
Uh,
I like
you got
where's the
Spread,
channel
you
here.
got Get Low, and you got Hey Ma.
I'd say Get Low is good for like a short term. Yeah, it's a real quick little bite. Spread, it's a little more. You gotta watch the whole thing. And Hey Ma, yeah, it's funny too, but you gotta really. It's in the delivery that shines. So
All right, well here just to give you an idea of what Justin used to look
skip
like.
skip maybe like a minute into Get Low because there's an intro. We don't need to.
This is the earliest example of Justin videography on the internet. Oh, I neglected to ask. What's your favorite Beatmania game series?
My very Beatmania game series, probably overall still DDR, but now I mainly play 2DX, and I probably would play a lot more pop and music if if there was a local cab still updated and running and things like that.
Nice. Okay. And just for the sake of, and you don't have to be descriptive. We talked about it, but what do you do now?
Nowadays, I am a salaryman. I work in an office, still with some Japanese coworkers or things like that, mainly HR related. So unfortunately, I'm not doing the video stuff full time, but that's probably why I still like doing it in my spare time. Because I have a feeling if, like they say, if I had to do it 8, 9, 10 hours a day, we wouldn't want to come home and edit, 2DX video on top of all that.
Exactly. All right. So that is that's actually a nice segue into the next segment because that's we met you. Most of us of the old. we we have a term for people that have been in the community for a long time, and I'm going to be repeating this basically every week. But we are old heads. So
Old heads, old friends. Yes.
you are an old head.
Yeah, I bet so. I take that. I'm old.
It's a term of endearment. It's not an insult. But us old heads, we met you in Atlanta, and I believe you were down here for work, right? It was like part work and part visiting family, something like that.
No, no, actually, that first time was only just family. I
Okay.
had, it was right after, it was as I was done. I was on my way coming back from Japan, permanently, and I got bumped on my last day. So I was like at Narita, well, just okay, I'm coming home now. And they're like, well, flight's booked. Does anybody want to, do the usual, take a flight tomorrow? They give me like 300 some odd dollars and put me up in a hotel and things like that. And I was like, that's fine because I played more games at the local mall that night. But then I had this money to spend. So when my grandma lived in Atlanta, well, not Atlanta, Georgia, I forget whereabouts, but it's close enough. And so that's why I was in town because I was just like, well, I got some money and I didn't have a job because I just got back. So I was traveling around visiting people. And then it was like, hey, if I'm not doing everything all day, every day. So there was at least a couple days and there was like a weekend that you were just like, hey, it's kind of urgent, but we can do this. Let's do this.
Yeah,
I think it was your idea.
if I recall correctly, you were there. You were going to be in Atlanta for probably like 5 days or something, and we stole you for 3 of those days from your grandma.
It was not a planned thing. And I was just sitting around watching TV with my grandma anyway. So she was like, oh, yeah, if you got friends here that you want to go see, be my guest.
And the reason why I was inspired to go, well, I mean, obviously we had known each other through the internet, through websites and stuff like that. Gotten to know each other, and then eventually you released something onto the internet that I saw that I think it was probably your first parody, right?
The first real one, if it was we're talking Dazzlin' Darlin', yeah, then that was the first certainly game related parody. Yeah, I've done all the other stuff in high school, like funny music videos and stuff, but the first like VGA was
Right.
that.
And that one was shot in Japan, right?
That was in Japan. That was in one of my second apartment in Gunma.
Tiny little apartment with like
Sheets.
sheets on the wall to hide the details. So I saw that and I thought it was absolutely hilarious, and I think most people at the time who thought it was great too. And so I was inspired. You inspired me, I should say. And I was like, man, that's awesome. We should do a parody. Because you're going to be in town, we could probably record something. And I think John had a camera. Is that right, John? You had like a DV camera.
So that wasn't so the first one, She Is My Wife, was someone else's camera. I don't remember whose camera it was. All of the others were done on my camera afterwards. That's
Okay.
when I bought my camera. But the first one, it was like some mini DV camera that it was not mine. I don't remember whose it was.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe it was the one I borrowed from here.
I do believe it was something you borrowed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
When I say this thing was thrown together in like 2 seconds, I mean, when I realized that Justin was coming into town, I put a post on Facebook and I was like, hey, I need extras basically. We're doing a project. I wish I could. I couldn't find the original post because I think it was a Facebook event. Um, but man, it was just like, who can be Ryu and who can be, who can be LED, and can you guys bring your controllers? And I had a professor at the time at my college at Georgia Tech who I posted about it, and I was looking for locations to shoot. And my professor got back to me and says, "Hey, I specifically was asking for a warehouse because the original video was shot like in a warehouse type setting." But my professor, like out of nowhere, completely unexpectedly, was like, "Hey, I'm remodeling the second floor of my house, and I live in such and such address. You can shoot it here if you want. It's a little run down, but that's what you're looking for, right?" So we organized really quick. We drove, or did we pick you up, Justin, or did someone drop you off, or did you drop yourself off?
I
I
I
think
want to think you picked me up, but you
yeah,
guys were
yeah,
driving me, so
yeah. We were driving you around, so we went to go pick you up, and then John was with us. He had his controllers. We had Marcus there, not Chorus K slash John Ham was there, and then I had to go pick up Matt, which was our Yoshitaka. I think that was everybody, and then we drove over to my professor's house.
Yeah, because you ended up playing two roles because we didn't have a soda.
We didn't have enough people. We didn't.
right. So we just clever camera angles and a hat or something.
Yeah, I was wearing my green. I still have that hoodie, green hoodie.
That hoodie's my hoodie.
Oh, is that you? Yeah, that was right. I
It
borrowed
was
your
my hoodie, and
hoodie.
I do still have it. That one
That's
actually.
awesome.
Yeah.
And a pair of shades, and yeah, it was very, very quickly done. We storyboarded it like in a couple hours, and we shot it there. And so you should talk about your outfit because I think you came prepared with the outfit.
I did. Now the timeline is kind of blurring in my head because I know we had just spent a day just like hanging out at like John's apartment, just playing games and stuff. And then there was another day, it must have been in between that because I know we had the idea that we want to do this. So then I went around to whatever thrift shops were kind of in that area to grab like the closest thing to that superstar Mitsuru outfit. And I guess I had what is it, like got a white shirt and then got like a tablecloth or something. And
You had a scarf. Your gloves were the funniest part.
the gloves are all they had were golf gloves, but they only had two right hands. So they're different types of golf clubs, one of different brands, and one of them is just like inverted on my left hand, and the whole time I'm just kind of like my pinky is where my thumb is, and
Yeah.
but I was lucky to find to cobble it together because there's only like two thrift shops that I ended up hitting up. So it was like let's figure this out, and it turned out okay. We didn't go for the wig, and they found surprised we even found the scarf to do what we need to do. And then there was one night I was just sitting around cutting up that towel or whatever it was, the sheet, and then sewing it to the arms of that.
Right, the tassels on your arms. That outfit was amazing.
It's certainly not official looking, but it kind of, especially at the time, the theme of all the parody videos were like, just kind of good enough.
Right.
It's like very, very close, but almost by purposely like low budget.
Yeah, homemade looking, but enough to distinguish ourselves from the original. Which I mean, obviously we weren't dealing with like the most high quality video equipment and software and stuff, but I think the result was a pretty decent video, right? I mean,
Right. And it came together. There's only stuff. I mean, there's not glaring problems. The video itself looks good. It's not HD because of at the time, I think, right?
yeah, the video DV was not HD.
Right. But we got and if Beatmania wasn't there to teach us to dance, I don't think we would have done it.
Yeah, that's Marcus. He's Ryu. He played Ryu Star. He's our black Ryu Star.
But, I mean, it was just because we didn't take the time to learn it, so we just did it shot for shot. We watched and said like, okay, this is the move we have to do 3 times, and then it came together. And the only stuff people really ever point out are the stuff we kind of purposely put in there like the weird shots of Oreos that were
Right.
like in the corner.
We stopped by the store to get some snacks before we started shooting, and we threw in a really fast hard cut of like Oreos, and there was some voltage I think I was drinking.
And I did play it as in the chat. Kevin's asking if I played it on Dance Evolution, and I did. And well, of course, there's the whole. They put some whole like part in the beginning, the whole slow part. You can't just stand there. So there's some weird kind of interpretive dance sounding parts, and I was just like, I couldn't sight read that. I'm like, what is this? But then when it picks up, then it's just like, oh, it's pretty inaccurate to what it was.
Right. Yeah.
There's a few parts
Yeah.
that
Because
are
I think the reason why Marcus even knew the thing was because there was like a DVD or something, and he
There was a
practiced it.
video that was published on YouTube or
Right.
like on the Konami channel or something that was like a here's how to do the She Is My Wife dance. Like it was a how-to video.
And Marcus took the
And I
time
believe
to
it was a
actually.
Konami.
Yeah, it was like official. It was probably like on the iRevo site back then, because
Yeah, that was back in the era of iRevo. I forgot about that.
such. Yeah, thankfully Marcus taught us how to do it, which was appreciated. Because I think, well, we should mention this shot took us the whole shoot took us the better part of the day,
right.
and
We got there, so you can see in the thumbnail, it's pretty much daytime.
by the time we were done, I think the last things we shot were like the close-ups of you, where you were talking, and the kibo part and all that stuff was shot like in a separate room.
Or
Because
yeah, just close-ups because it was dark out now and
yeah,
the lighting totally changed.
at that point it was already dusk and the sun had set, so we were just using like internal lights at that point.
Yeah, because the room was under construction, so there wasn't it wasn't like a completely furnished lit room. So it was kind of like a dark corner that we go to for
Right.
like the last few shots.
So once we posted that video, once you edited it all together, the first minute or so you shot that back home.
Oh, all the like the generic 2DX video clips. Yeah, those were all from just around back in Wisconsin. That's where I was back over again
Right.
with just driving around in clips and the squirrel because I couldn't get a butterfly.
Nice. And then you put that together, you uploaded it, you posted it. You actually posted it to a couple places. You posted it on your YouTube channel. You posted it on your Facebook, and then you also posted it on Nico Video, Nico Doga.
Right, because we were really trying to impress the Japanese, especially because they had even made the how-to video and things like that. So I made and it wasn't easy back then. There was no English version, so it was like I don't even know if there was a tutorial at the time. But it was like because you had to sign up, and they weren't asking for like a credit card, but it was still pretty. Well, it was bad enough just to make the account and then to upload stuff. There was like a whole nother layer, and even afterwards, there's like if it's they were very strict, like bit rate qualifications and things like that or restrictions, and it's not like YouTube where you can just upload anything and they would down convert it. It was like
Right.
this doesn't work, it's not allowed, good luck. And go back and figure it out. So and that changed almost like every time I had made a new video, so I would go back and be like, okay, now what do I have to do? And because I couldn't just stuff on 720, you had to have like a pro account or something, you had to pay and do all that. So most of it was like put it on here to get the word out, and then link to the YouTube video, which was the full res or the real version, so to speak.
Yeah, and I mean, Justin, I can't understate how much he hated it. He didn't want to do it, but I insisted, and I think it was a good thing because that first video we actually got coverage on a Japanese fan website called Purotora, and I think it's still around, the website, which was a big deal because everybody was talking about it. It was basically like one of those what's it like? It's kind of like a aggregation site, kind of like not like
Kind of like a
Red,
BuzzFeed or
not like Reddit. It's like what's the name of that old website that people used to go to before they went to Reddit?
Yahoo, Dig.
Dig. It was like a dig for Japan, and they're still around. I mean, I don't know how popular they are, but we made the front page with that particular video. Like the Japanese took notice and they were really excited about it.
And it's so much more fun to watch, with the comments and stuff. When Nico always was. So
Yeah, the guys that were watching it went through a lot of effort to overlay text and do all sorts of funny little edits to to make the video spicy, I guess. So that was awesome. And we should mention some of the OGs. Like even though our parody video was pretty good, there were people doing it before us. Like we weren't the only ones doing it. And
right, there was even I don't know how they were making it back then. The stuff being non digital, because I think somebody had to have captured that, or did I take the tapes back home and captured it? I think I must have had to have.
yeah, I think when we recorded it, I gave you the tapes. Like we bought tapes, and then I just let you have them so you could work on them back home.
Took them home. Okay, because that would have been impossible back then.
But like when I'm talking about these OGs, I'm talking about John's favorite, Food Network style.
Those guys are great. What are you talking about?
Which is it's not a parody in the purest sense, but it's just like Beatmania related videos.
Yeah, that's the first. Because now, where were those guys at? Were they in California?
Those guys were in Texas, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
It's like Southwest, where
Southwest
they
somewhere.
were somewhere in the Southwest area.
Talking about Momo and Jaden, and they're still around. Like they're not gone from the internet, but they're obviously not making these anymore.
And
Momo,
the first,
yeah,
I know there was other stuff, like the Mad videos with like Ronald, Fascination Max, and things like that. But then, like the V video is the first one that I ever remember. Yeah, 'cause there was always videos of people just doing weird stuff to the music, and then the first one I ever remember seeing like actual parody of the BGA was the V one.
yeah. I'm loading that up right now.
Oh, gee, you have that? I've wanted that video for a while and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, we were looking these up the other night.
And yeah, it's just searching like 2DX V parody does not wield the best results.
Or I thought I had it, huh?
I thought we
Oh,
had
it's
it.
in
No,
my
I think we have
it's,
it. We
it's
have
in
it
my
in our.
history. I have to look at my history.
I finally found that poppin' video I was looking for.
Yeah, please don't post that.
And,
It took
and
me
then
forever. I couldn't search for it.
is this it? Let's see here.
Yeah,
Yes!
the V live action.
So there's that, and then other than that, before that, it was just like weird, like Tatsugen videos or like that Poppin' like Classic 4 video that would always be posted every.
Everybody
So
loves
then-
it. There's
So this
that.
was just
And then my favorite out of all of these, which John knows of this one too, the the doll anime theme.
That's classic. It's
Which-
such a simple edit, and it's perfect.
The guy who made it, shout out to the Moon Daber, Min Fan. He actually used to work for a subtitling group back then, so he had the tools to do it. And he went ahead and put it on there and made it seem like it was an anime intro, which it worked so well.
because it's obscure enough that people would not know. Like if it were Zephyr, I mean that was the joke. Oh, what anime is that from?
Exactly.
But Doll, if he didn't play DDR, he probably would be like, oh, you can catch a few people. I think it was a good choice.
So yeah, that was the spirit of those old videos, and so that's what we were trying. That was part of what we were trying to capture with our parodies, I think. Chadley was another one. Shout outs to Chadley and the Safari.
Chad.
Did you ever meet Chadley, Justin?
I probably were if he ever went to MagFest those couple years that I went, he might have been there. I don't think I overheard him being around, but personally, I don't know if I ever Chadley.
Oh my God, I'm going to Africa. For those who don't know.
And it comes up literally every time we're playing 2DX or trying to get Dan at at the arcades. It's still a meme to this day.
He was a hit when he came to MomoCon last year.
Okay, I'm playing the video right now.
You can thank eight. You can thank 8Dan for it being a meme still.
Yeah,
7.
it's 7, Dan.
Oh, 7. Yeah, sorry.
7. The Safari refugees. All right. So then you also did. That was not the first and last parody that we did together.
No, but it was. There was a long time in between them.
Right. And that was mostly my fault. We were in college at the time. Well, some of us graduated, but some of us were still in college and moving on with our lives, so it was kind of hard to pin down time to record them. But
Right.
we did eventually do another one.
Yeah, you guys ended up. You guys put in the work. Because there was. Was the next one? Was it Golden Cross?
Golden Cross, I think, was the next one. Yep.
The next one was Golden Cross.
And that's when we had gone digital, or somebody had. You did you no? Did you send me? Is that when you sent me a USB with all the
Yeah.
files on it?
So that's
Yeah,
that's
because
the
that
one
was
that
on
we
my
shot.
camera,
Right.
Okay.
and my camera was a Sony Handycam. So that was all digital.
That was a good middle ground there. Because I think we're like, oh, am I gonna start up an FTP, or how are we gonna do this? Send them all through Skype or something like that. And then you sent me that really teeny tiny. I'd never seen one of those, like a USB that's literally just as long as the dongle is at the
Right.
time.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, what is this?
To get the files, tiny little USB drive. I figured it was the safest way to do it because back then my internet is not as great. I mean, to be honest, internet speeds have not improved that much anyway. But yeah, my internet was not that great, so I decided to send it in the mail. And we just sort of sent it off in the mail and crossed our fingers and waited and waited and waited, and eventually we released the full
And
edited.
I don't didn't we didn't do any planning, I think, on my part. Like, you just said, hey, we do this, can you edit it? And I didn't see any of this until, like, I was looking through the files, I believe.
Right. So we did this in two phases. I don't know if you remember, but you had a trial of, I guess, After Effects or something like that.
Right. At the time, after I had come back and was settled, I was still in Wisconsin. I was working part-time with a nonprofit in Milwaukee doing their videos for their websites and stuff. And before that, I didn't really use any Adobe stuff. The earliest, like, Jay Treats videos were edited on, like, iMovie that was included in my Mac Pro I had at the time. And then I had eventually bought, like, Final Cut Express that I did the Please Don't Go video in. But then by the time I come back, I don't know if it was just good timing, but I had known enough After Effects for that effect shot in Golden Cross that I don't know what we would have done otherwise. So you must have asked me about that, and I knew I could have done it at the time.
Yeah, what we did was a couple of weekends before the actual shoot, I went over to my friend's house, the apartment that was in that video, that townhouse, and I asked Tommy, who was our contestant, or the guy who was going against the big boss, to put on a suit, and we just took a bunch of pictures with him, right? And so that one scene, roughly, a minute or so into the video, where like the guy is like in a prone position and being spun around and in the darkness, and there's shogi pieces flying all over the place and stuff. I just took the camera that I had, like a photographic camera, and just took a bunch of shots of his face, and we covered his head in water to make it look like he was sweating. and, and then we just gave you all the stills, and basically you took those stills and like molded or 3D modeled those shogi pieces with textures, and did all those crazy the hallway effect and all that stuff.
So
With
I
that,
did that part first, and then we're
yeah,
like, okay, we can do this. Let's do the rest of it.
exactly. And so then the following weeks, I think maybe 3 or 4 weeks after the fact, that's when we got everybody together to shoot the rest of the video in there. And I mean, I think we talked about it briefly in the very first podcast we did, but like we had 3 different shogi boards at different scales. Bill Diamashura did the shogi board that we eventually put on the DDR machine. We had another one made of foam pieces that was like for the further away shots, and then obviously the close-up shots were the wooden pieces because that was like the tiniest shogi board we had. didn't really match the rest. So in order to make it look like proper sized things, we had to work with 3 different shogi boards. So it was an ordeal, and that one we were a little bit more efficient with the shoot schedule. I think it took a while, but
Quite
Agree,
a
'cause
bit more efficient with the shoot schedule, I would say.
yeah, because we actually planned it as opposed to saying, "Hey, you're in town for a weekend, let's do this."
Well, and
and
we recorded in She Is My Wife. We tried to sort of shoot everything kind of sequentially. Like just we had the video on a laptop and we'd watch it and we go, okay, that's what we're
Yep.
recording. And then with Golden Cross, we had it a lot like Hector had a lot more storyboarded out. We're gonna get these shots and it was a lot more efficient.
And then Justin threw it all together with his magic, his
threw it all together.
textbook
With a
magic.
slapped on. And I think you mentioned it, but yeah, there was I do. Because I was doing that at home, so I was using a trial version of After Effects. So it was just whatever Adobe had. Like here, it was probably CS. I think I pulled up. I think it was CS 4 or 5, and it was just a 30-day trial. So I had to hustle, and I think it all worked. There was no like watermark or anything like that. I think I couldn't install certain plugins as a result, which were only hampered. I had to get creative when I did Funky Bingo Paradise later. But in terms of
that's a great video.
for Golden Cross, it worked out.
That was when we posted that again. We did that with Nico. I don't know if we put that one on Facebook, but I know we put it on YouTube and on Nico. And that one, to this day, I think that one has the most views out of any of the parodies we've done.
Yeah, right. As of right now, it has like an even 30,000 on YouTube. So I don't know even if you throw Nico on there.
We should check that out and see how popular it's been. It's been a minute.
Nico's 20K.
Okay, so yeah, between the two, 50K. And plenty of people have, through magic of hacking and hackery, have managed to put that video into their arcade machines, and it's great. They're still.
Yeah, there's a couple cons where people would send me like videos like, hey, I'm at this con and look what they're playing. And I was like, oh, they're just playing 2DX. But then you look and I'm dancing because they're playing Dazzling Darling or something like that.
So good.
Yeah, I have those in my setup.
It's so funny. Yeah, the first time I realized you could do that was, I think it was at a MagFest, and my friend said she'd played Golden Cross, didn't think anything of it, and then when it came to the final notes, she realized that it didn't match, like the actors were different.
Mm-hmm.
So she played it again, just to make sure that. And then she told me about it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's all. I mean, I didn't know you could even do that, so I thought it was hilarious. So that's how I found out. So then our next collab after that, we added a couple more people. I actually had a lot of fun shooting this one, but I don't.
You got the band back together.
Yeah, we got the band back together, so I thought it was kind of a neat little double entendre. We shot that one. That was at your old place, right, John?
Yeah, that was the house I was renting before I bought a house.
I really enjoyed this one. I thought this was a lot of fun. It wasn't as popular as the other ones, but it made the perfect parody. Parody fodder, I guess, is the term I'm looking for.
Again, because we stuck with it's not perfect. We're always we throw in the controllers whenever possible. It's you don't want a real guitar, so. And but everything was still shot to shot. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, you got to mention the candles because the candles were hilarious.
And well, yeah, there was so. And again, I don't know. Did I just find that out as I was looking at the footage or hearing you guys?
So yeah, I think someone bought the candles, but we forgot to bring them or something.
Yeah, like they weren't brought to the house, so we were just like, oh, there's no candles. What do we do? And Amanda, my girlfriend at the time, wife now, went rummaging through our cabinets and found some different colored straws. And then we just stuck them in the cake. We're like, JT, please make it work.
Yeah, I remember hearing just like the chatter in the B-roll or whatever, just like, oh, I'm sure. So I probably overplayed in my hand when I did friggin' the Golden Cross. You're like, oh, if he can you can do that, what's a few candles? So that I don't even remember. I think probably just Googled a picture of a candle flame and then studied real briefly what it looks like when they flicker
Yeah,
when you
man,
blow them out.
they were so impressive. Like, you guys have like it's near the end of the video. Like, you swear that they're actual fire, but if you look closely,
it's so close, or it's so it's such a short thing. If you don't call it out, you wouldn't know, which I guess is good enough.
Right.
I hope so. I don't know if you can play the clip or not, but
yeah, I'm playing it now over and over again. So good.
So that. Oh, I even put the wick on there. Oh, go me!
I know,
And
you're amazing, dude.
like I think the week before, I learned how to do tracking and all that stuff. So I wasn't. Well, of course, I did it crappily, so I just still like frame by frame adjust them, and then a lot of the times I just kind of said, I'll just do these for squiggles on the flame and played it, and I'm like, all right, turned out I don't think I could have planned it any better. So I didn't try to do smoke. I don't think I did.
No, there's no smoke, but it was so quick that you couldn't even really notice it anyway.
Because I remember I was just like, all right, okay, good. Oh, you did a good job. You got this puppet, you got this dog. You guys really planned this out. And then I'm like, is that a cookie? Straws?
So good. Yeah, that's when I knew that Justin was a master at his craft, because what he managed to do with those candles was amazing.
I always like just good enough. But if it's too perfect, then what's the point? You can just go watch the original.
Exactly.
It's always got to be kind of, like funny, like, oh, that's how you did it. That's cute.
The technically the next video that we did, which was more like it was supposed to be a surprise, was the Your Body video.
Was that the next one, or did you send that? When did you film that? Because I have a feeling you sent me that clip really early, like it was right after
we had already filmed the Your Body stuff before we even did Touch Kanemono.
Or it was on, or I think it was on the same drive. Like it was in a different folder when you sent me Golden Cross files. Or
So
like,
just for backup or history, whatever. This is the video. The part that we shot was the parts with Marcus, with Beatmania the Tiger, and he was our Andrea Hopkins. We were still in Japan at the time. The house, that house actually got torn down, by the way. I don't know if you heard, Justin.
I did not.
So the house
Your professor's house, or
no,
it was
Beatmania.
Andy's old place, and he doesn't live there anymore. No one does. It's all been torn down, and there's townhouses. I live like literally 2-minute drive from there, so
Right.
I get to see all the construction.
So that house is gone, but we recorded that. I bought a wig on Amazon like 2 days before, and we put it on his head and we just had him sing it. And I think we briefly mentioned it in a previous podcast, but we got like a microphone and the bottom of a CD spindle to act like a pop guard, and had him sing his parts. And so we sent that footage to Justin and said, "Hey Justin, go ahead and do it.
you should do this. You should do this.
You should
This
do
would be
it.
funny."
It's so funny. It's so funny." And for the longest time, Justin's excuse was like, "I don't have a camera." That was the first excuse.
And then I got a camera.
And then you got a camera, and it says, "I don't have the leather pants. I need to go find those pants." And then eventually you found the pants. And then you're like, "I don't know if I want to record this because there's a scene in there where Dai is topless, and how am I going to do this?" Basically, it took us the better part of goading him of 2 years. Until
I was gonna say closer to 10, but it was only.
it was like 2.5 years.
You'd always be like, hey, remember you still got that Your Body footage? Bring it up like.
Yeah, but I'm
And
glad.
then
Yeah, you finally did it, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy
it was.
that you did.
I actually ended up filming it 3 years ago because I was in my old apartment here in Chicago, but it was the ceilings were high enough, and I had just gotten some screen setups and stuff. Got off Amazon, so I can finally do the backdrops. All those white. I finally had to stop using curtains, and blankets, and things like that.
Right.
So the black background was actually a black curtain. The same for the white, and then for green, when I had green screen. Oh, it's professional. It's the best.
So professional.
And so that's when I was and I think because I was just in a thrift store in Chicago at the time, and I saw they're not real pants. I think they were almost like rain pants. It's a very raincoat type fabric, but they were pants. And I was just like, all right, that's it. This is a sign. And I had no excuse at that point. So
Yeah. I could tell you were trying to delay it as much as possible.
but well, then I was it I think I did like an April Fool's or something, because I did the teaser, which was totally shot. I didn't have any equipment, just shot in a dark room. The first like 5 seconds or whatever, right before the song really kicks in,
Right.
and saying like, "Oh yeah, hey guys, look what I'm doing," or I just like uploaded it, and then I was like, "Oh, I got a copyright strike. They took it down. I guess
Are you
you'll never see
serious?
it, guys. Sorry."
That was what. Yeah,
But yeah, it's I got the. Let me see if I can get the link here.
yeah, because I remember that, but then I was looking for that the other day and I couldn't find it.
Here's and I reused, I think, most of I think the first shots, some of the shots I used and some of the shots I just redid. So this, I just put on Facebook like, hey guys, look what I did, surprise. And then just played it off like, oh, it's.
Even bringing up the suspense back then, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and then it was, I think, another year before I actually ended up redoing it.
Right, right.
Because I had to go back, and be like, what was I wearing during that teaser? Because I want to save the footage or save some time.
Oh, that's great. So you shot that. What you're saying is you shot that twice, basically.
The first couple seconds was shot twice.
That's great.
Like if there's a movie like I don't know, Back to the Future or something, there's an ending scene and they shoot it again for the beginning of 3. It's like they redo it again. I don't know if that's completely wrong analogy or not. But if they redo a whole section, I did that. Yeah. So I was like, well, I can do this for real now.
So there were a couple other videos. I'm gonna save DPS for last, so we can bring Serena in.
Okay.
The lovely Serena. But we're gonna briefly mention the other one. These are the ones that you did on your own,
right?
Or help with your own local friends. So we can talk about what Bad Routine. I think you said you shot that at a anime convention.
Bad Routine I did at Amkey 2000, whatever it was. And again, I don't. It must have been planned because I went out and got the outfit ahead of time. But I think we were just planning on shooting it in some corner of the Hyatt in Milwaukee, wherever they filmed. It was held at, and it didn't. The places didn't exist, so it's actually filmed in the parking garage of the hotel. And most of that's that little room in the thumbnail is the elevator, like the waiting room for the elevator. So that's, so it's just a dirty, and it's the middle of, I think at that year, it was like on Valentine's Day weekend. So this is a February in Wisconsin, and it's freezing, and I'm wearing shorts, and, thankfully that sweater was warm enough. But I think there's a couple shots where I'm like under lights, or I'm very clearly in a parking garage.
Right. Yeah.
And we shot it in like 5-minute spurts, because we would go out there and be freezing, and like, oh my god, I gotta come back in, and we would like warm up. And like every video I think we ever shoot, it's just one part watching the clip over and over again on our phone, and like, okay, let's go shoot it. And then we go back out. But because this is at a hotel in a busy parking garage in downtown Milwaukee, there was always there's always people constantly coming through. So we'd be in the middle. I'd be doing my best attempt to break dance on this dirty floor, and then a nice couple would walk through with their family because they're going down to eat dinner at the restaurant. So we just had to be like, oh hey, how's it going? Nice night, isn't it?
Yeah, nice night.
And so that it was freezing, and that's I don't remember whose idea was it, but it was.
I want to
it was
say,
somebody.
I mean, were you with Ben Cole at the time?
I was with Jason Mazurek. He was the camera guy at the time. I don't even remember what we shot it with. It wasn't somebody's phone. It was a video camera of some sort. but that was that. And most of the stuff, half these things I don't come up with my own. Usually it's some thread or somebody says, hey, you know what'd be funny? And then that's usually all it takes.
Then
If
off
I
to the
can think
races.
I can do it, I'll do it.
So
So there was
speaking of the biggest, what would be funny, Night Style Lower World
nice.
video.
Was that you? Was it say, hey, you should do that?
Yeah,
Or
I think I was the one who convinced you to do that. Which
and so
the
I'm glad this is still up. It
yeah
didn't
the
get taken.
the joke on this one, if you just go in like I don't know 40 seconds or so, once the song starts saying the Dat Boy sample, we get a visit from our favorite frog. And I think you did that one pretty quick. Like that was done like
That was in a night.
yeah, like you knocked that
it
out
was-
like in no time whatsoever.
It was a weeknight, a work night too, or something. So it's like, a Thursday night, as just like now, and it's like, hey, it'd be fun. And then I had the game plan. I was like, oh, I know how I can do this. How I would spin them around. I figured out how I would do the roses or whatever it is. So, and it was like, well, it's already like after midnight, but I'm so close. So I just like cranked it out right at the end.
It was amazing.
And I didn't say, hey, that boy version. I was just like, oh, hey guys, look what I did. And I'm sure people were like, there's nothing new here. It's the exact same video because it goes on for like 30 seconds. And I don't know if it's a good of a payoff.
And then surprise, I think it's perfect. I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I love it. It's the best,
And then
best throwaway joke.
and then there's like at least 3 or 4 takes on Gold Rush, again, which were just
Right, the cheesy the cheesy macaroni.
the Velveeta, the liquid goal. Oh yeah, and yeah, as Blake says, it was like Dat Boy was in full effect. If I didn't do this week, the meme would have passed us by. So it was a very short window, and now 2 years later, who knows? People probably don't even know what that is. But yeah, there was that, and then at this little brief window was just kind of like, oh, it's cold out. I don't want to do anything, so we just make these funny little gags. Like there was another one here. This was one that again I like. My original idea because, and you mentioned Stillwind in the last episode.
Right.
Rest in peace. So yeah, the Gold Rush is the meme song more than anything else. So there's always some reference to be made.
I think you did one with like iPhones too. That was another.
Yeah, that was based off of a tweet by, was it Camellia, who to this day is still just there it is.
So silly. Camellia is a madman, by the way. He's been going nuts with the memes.
Absolutely.
Shout outs to Camellia.
So those are just afternoon, put them out real things on
Yeah.
a good Saturday. I get going. I got some caffeine in me, and I'm staying up all night. And then the other big labor of love thing was the April Fool's, the first April Fool's joke I ever did, and now I don't know if I have the pictures because I didn't think, was I made Poppin' Music Adventure CS fake screenshots.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was awesome.
Using scans or pictures from the obscure plug and play Marimba Tengoku, which is probably not officially branded Beatmania, but they had all these characters that looked like they could fit into Poppin' somewhere. So
Do you
I
still have that?
the pictures or the game?
The photoshops.
Well, they're on my Mac and I don't have them. I don't think I can find them quickly enough. It would take some digging. I'll see if I can do that while we're talking, maybe. But yeah, that was like April Fools, haha, got him, and it didn't get too much traction because it was like, I think the movie, or we were already many CS for arcade versions away.
Yeah.
And Portable 1 and 2 had already come out, so 15 CS's time was long since gone.
Yeah, the joke was over at that point.
But then I did the Happy Sky phone game version, Happy Sky HD. So that was the video. I made the whole video just because I wanted to, and then it happened to be like a week before April Fool's. So I thought, well, what if I, record footage of the TV like I did before, and just say like, oh, hey guys, here's a brand new review just for you, type of thing. And most people knew better, but there were a few people that were like, where'd you get this type of thing? How do you get this working? And that was all 100%. Aside from stealing some cloud pictures and scanning the cover of Happy Sky ACS, all made from scratch. So those other little pictures, the icons on the title screen, I took those at round 1 and things like that. So that was another ongoing thing, and I got another one going on now, remaking whatchamacallit, My Future. Just and it's going on. It's going on 2 years.
Yeah, if you want to share some of your unfinished, like we haven't covered every single parody. I mean, check out the parodies. There's one in particular I do want to talk about, but we'll save that for the end. But yeah, if you want to show like anything that hasn't been released yet, like your My Future stuff, you can go ahead and share that now.
In My Future, I mean, it's no surprise because I posted it in numerous threads and stuff. But like, I'm working on one where it's My Future, but instead of the little pig girl, it's Cindy. She's an unofficial mascot.
Looks so good.
Of a very famous website.
That's I mean, that GIF right there was like 3 years old and very low res compared to now. I'm making these things almost 4K resolution just because there's some big zoom in shots and I want it to look very pretty because that's part of the whole aesthetic of the video anyway. So there's that. Let's see if I got a full res Cindy I can send to you guys. Here's one. She's not in her outfit, but she's looking cute. During the workout part of the video, if you know that. And yeah, if you want to click on it and bring it up, it's sizable. So there's that, and that's just in between weekends when I'm feeling like busting out the tablet and drawing again. And the other one, which was a dead project before your body, was the We Are Disco kanji girls from like a Happy
Inochi.
And
what is it, John? Say it again.
We Are Disco Yotsu Uchi Inochi.
There we go. That's my man. And the time at the idea at the time was gonna be like me and like Eddie LaHecca and Sherlock and Nick Randall. And we Sherlock took pictures of us at one of the first ASENs was Korsuke was there and everybody was there. But I am not good at animating like people like puppetry style, which was I'm probably better at it now, but at the time it was a disaster. Here's a GIF. In theory, I knew what I had to do, but I wasn't good enough to do it. So I took kind of one look at that, and I'm just like, better not quit my day job. So and I might revisit it at some point, but I might try to just redraw it with right when was it Beatstream was killed off. I was gonna make it like We Are, Bisco, and just have it be 4 different versions of Bisco as like a rest in peace type thing. But I didn't get on that one quick enough either. But there's always a chance.
Rip Bisco, rip Sponge.
I was about to say, Taylor will watch it.
Sponge.
Taylor is our Sponge is our. You probably met Taylor Hill, right? Have you met Taylor Hill?
I'm sure I have.
He's crazy about Beatstream. He usually works with Anthony and the Tokyo Attack stuff at the conventions he goes to.
And then again, inspiration struck in the middle while I was doing the video to make the April Fool's joke. I made the Happy Slam,
That's a good one too.
which is in it's in my music library. So whenever it comes up, there's always that second where I don't know is this a Happy Sky opening or is it Happy Slam? It's always a movement of anticipation. And either way,
The head floating across the. Oh, it's so good.
and that's just I think because those were in full effect at the time. So and I tried a few things because you got the the stems or how to make it real quick.
Right. Yeah.
So I threw it under a couple, and Happy Sky is probably my favorite 2DX theme. So I just kind of slapped it down and it worked. So it was like, oh, it must be a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy enough. Let's do it.
And I didn't have the HD version of the video was nowhere near done yet, but I wanted that out as soon as I thought of it. So I just like threw it over the original video and put some Barkley heads on it.
It turned out beautifully. All right, so yeah, it should be noted. You did Usambashi and you did Treasure X Star, and I feel like did we mention Please Don't Go? We did mention Please Don't Go.
We mentioned Please Don't Go,
Like
and
originally.
Treasure X Star was also inspired by you guys. Because when I came over and we were at John's apartment just playing arcade games, we were, I think Empress or Gold CS was out.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It was Gold CS, yeah.
We were playing it and you guys were commenting on the video, specifically the airplane. Right up like
Yes.
And so to this day, because you called it out, I still see it every time it comes out. And I wanted to make it just so I can include the airplane. Like that's my big payoff, my big punchline. It was like, I'm gonna go through all this trouble just to make sure that there's a plane in this shot. And
So good.
then sure enough, as soon as it got posted, I think somebody commented on either YouTube or Facebook, so it's like, yes, there's the plane, or I can't believe you got the plane. And I was just like, yes,
I'm telling you, man,
it's worth it all.
you got to pay attention to the details. And who was that with you?
That's Skylar. He's another local boy from also originally from Milwaukee, but now he also lives in Chicago as well. And he's very good at DDR and Pump It Up. And that was another like kind of like you just recruiting, like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. Are you free on Saturday? And it was just kind of blocked in a notebook real quick. Had some ideas. Shot in Lincoln Square in Chicago because it had, a shopping center style to it, and everything kind of worked out. So I was like, yeah, all right, meet us there. We'll do it. And Serena was on camera, which she has done. Hey, good timing. Serena has been doing camera on these since Your Body, because Jason was doing it Bad Routine. And I don't even know if I had a real camera at the time. I don't even remember what we shot that on. But then I got a camera of myself, my own, and so I just said, here's how to focus. Here's how to. And it's not a video camera; it's a DSLR. That
picture
shoots,
camera.
Yeah,
Right.
that shoots enough video, and so far it's worked out.
So
There's only a few times where I thought, oh, I wish I had an actual video camera, but
since we mentioned Serena, we should go ahead and bring her in. She's been in the room with you the whole time, right?
yeah, you probably heard her giggling.
Yeah.
So everybody say hi to Serena.
Hi.
Hello.
So
Hi.
She couldn't resist
Hello.
not hearing what you guys were saying, so she's been listening.
Serena's awesome because she also managed. Not only was she your camera person, we should say, she also starred in one of your videos, right?
Right, and probably the second most popular one, damage per second, DPS as we would call it.
So I thought it would be a good idea to have her in the podcast so she can talk about her experience with that video as well.
And were you just thrown into this as well? Did I ask you to?
Yeah, you just asked me if I would help out, and so I did. The funny story with the DPS costume is that Justin just put that on me and then took me out and was like, walk here and run here. And you might notice that there's absolutely no eye holes on that at all. So I was totally blind. I couldn't see at all, just running at full speed sometimes in the park. And it wasn't until a long time afterwards when he put on the costume himself that he was like, there's no eye holes in this. How did you see?
Yeah, I made this whole thing because first I was gonna paint this box, but the yellow paint didn't look nice. It wasn't bright, so I just slapped a bunch of yellow construction paper poster board to the side of the whole thing, and she didn't say anything. It's just
I didn't question your methods.
so I was like, okay, run down here. She was looking down. I think you could see her feet,
I could see my feet.
but there was a bunch of pillows and stuff stuffed in there because it was taller than her head, and we needed to see her hands. So she was holding the hula hoop at the time. So I was just, okay, run over here, just run down the sidewalk, and I'll follow you, and I'll tell you when to stop. So I was giving her instructions, and I had no idea. So she would have been like, hey, I can't see. What the hell are you doing? But I never would have known. And then, yeah, a year later, when it was right before we decided we finally were going to take it to round 1 to play DPS wearing the train, and I was like, had the camera out and I put it on. I'm like, wait, what the hell? There's no eye holes in this. How did you see? And she's like, I didn't. I've been telling you this for a year. And then I just like took out my keys and like gouged a hole along the black line in the front, so it was not too blatant,
not too obvious, right? Yeah.
right. But this had been done canned and on YouTube for a year until I was like, wait a second, there's no eye holes in this thing. And so that's very impressive because I don't think I could have. There were some good speeds, and she was running in a park. It's
like
not like it was.
Well, that's what always made me laugh because she was like doing it over hills and like, I mean, she could have tripped. Like seriously, it could have.
Oh, I did.
Oh, did you really?
I don't think it didn't fall though, because the thing is still intact. It's on top of our fridge. We can't can't bear to part with it.
I thought you were trying to get rid of it, Serena.
I am. Serena will not let it go.
Oh man, it's so funny. Well,
So
I was gonna say thanks for being a trooper, Serena, because that was a really good video too.
Oh yeah, it was really fun.
And that's always fun because whenever we run into people at round 1, a lot of times introduced, and it's like, hey, you know who this guy is? He makes those videos, and then like, oh yeah, I love the train one, and I'm almost like, hey, guess who else was in that video? This girl right here.
And I think I even mentioned that in podcast episode 0. We were talking about your channel. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the guy who made that damage per second video.
And I think up until the day of, it was going to be me. But was it the camera? Just like with the action with your body, was just static. Just keep it on a tripod, and autofocus, and it'll just hold it there.
Yeah.
But she didn't want to risk running around a park, maybe dropping a camera. So
yeah, because you were running too. There are shots where we're both like jogging together.
And so that was just like, all right, suit up. And I think I tried to get like a morph suit, but it ended up just being black pants and a black hoodie. So Serena's always the go-to camera person now. She also did it for Osambashi. DPS was done like the week Copula came out, or if not like 2 weeks after, because there was they were live streaming it from the arcades and things like that, and everybody's watching the videos. So we got a capture of that particular video. And I was like, oh man, that's one of the ones that's not obvious. And like some of them, very clearly, it's like, Superstar, there's a dance routine, and that's very something people can can easily do. Do
Right.
the like Odo Temita videos in front of the station. That was another one that we had always were gonna do next weekend. We're gonna do it. Was the like the Shupatsu Shinko Odori Masho, whatever video where they're doing the the no cut dance routine on the platform. And we had some places like on the red line here in Chicago, like this is going to be a great shot. You can see the skyline in the background. We just need to know the dance, and then it needs to stop being so hot out. Now it needs to stop being so cold out. And
Yeah.
but this one, we filmed it on a weekend, and then it dumped snow on Chicago, and it was completely just like buried in snow for the rest of the year.
Oh wow.
So like it's green in the shots in the park because it was just like that weekend in November, right before winter hit us hard. And if we had waited one more week, we never would have got it done.
I'm glad you got it done. Yeah, because that was one of the best ones. Knocked it out very quick.
And then Osambashi was the opposite, in that it was the middle of summer. And that was in the back of my mind, like, oh, we can do this. We should do this. How hard can it be, for years and years too? And then so finally I called, my friend Rich, and I was like, hey, you like Osambashi? He's like, yes, I do. So I was like, all right, we'll meet us in the park here on this day. We're going to do it. So we went down to the Lake Michigan, and
Oh, that's
we're,
okay.
yeah, we're wearing long sleeve shirts as per the video, but we're sweating and getting
It's so
dehydrated. And so yeah, Serena was doing camera for that too. But we were like, I think Serena got sunburned pretty bad.
Yeah, I had a horrible sunburn. It was
I'm sorry.
it was worth it.
I was gonna say, but it was worth it.
I was gonna say, yeah. Speaking of sunburn, we shot Gamble, and I guess that's probably the last one we could talk about. But we shot Gamble on a day as well. Actually, my wife is here. She was the long-haired one. But speaking of sunburn, Andy, who was our police officer, he was in our podcast a couple weeks ago. I brought a leather jacket, and it was really hot out. It was humid, and he ended up getting sunburnt because of how much time we spent outside. But we didn't realize it at the time, because you don't really feel it till like much later, and his face
Yeah,
got
it's like, oh,
burnt.
it's kind of warm out. Yeah. And that was another one again where, and there hasn't been a time where these files have shown up on my doorstep and I'm just like, what is this? How am I supposed to work with this garbage? You guys have always do a real good job, and you shoot long. You don't just give me the shot and that's it. There's like 2 minutes before and after where I can feel the motivation. Like I know what your process is, and you instruct everybody pretty well. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is this shot, or this is going to work out. The only thing was, well, it happened to me, like, it happened to you, and then it happened to me too. There was like some dust on the lens.
Yeah.
And I took care of it, and I'm not going to tell you where, so that
So you don't notice.
But the same thing happened to me with Osambashi later on. It's like what is that? Oh, because I guess we reviewed it on the screen on the camera, but on full res, there's very clearly like this dot right there, and I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah, that was the same issue we ran into.
But through movie magic, everything is possible.
Absolutely. That's Cho in his chair, by the way. That little Photoshop. Cho always carries a chair with him whenever we go to 2DX or whenever we go to conventions, so he can sit down. And so Vince.
And that's that was another one again. Ever since the dawn of time, it's like we should redo Gamble. We should redo. But what else? What else am I thinking of? If I don't know. I always want to do it. I always say I call dibs on Dr. Love.
Yeah. Well, if I may make a suggestion.
Oh, any requests?
Yeah.
Because that's usually all it takes, and you'll have it by next week.
Well, I wish it was that easy for the live action ones, but I started playing 2DX again, and I actually sat down and watched this video. I don't know if you've seen this video.
I have, and a lot of people have said we should do it, but it's almost like, what else could you do?
Right.
Because it's not super. It's kind of hokey already. So us redoing it, unless you did some sort of spin on it, I
Yeah,
don't
like
know what to do.
the basic idea was to replace the lion puppet with the police puppet, but
Police puppet, which you have.
which I have.
I've got, and it's actually in my YouTube channel. I don't know if I should. I still don't know if I'm going to ever just, because I've got 3 of these puppets. If I would just skin one for the cause, or use it, because I want to make Lion Saki, since 9 Style came out too, and now
Right.
that Serena's here, would I actually put a girl in there for
Heck
once?
yeah, man. Do
Could.
you want to be in the Lion Suki video, Serena?
I do like that song.
You're gonna have to do like push-ups and weird pull-ups and stuff, though. That's
And that's the only hard part, is like, I don't know if we would use because all the regular parts with the puppet, that's fine, that's easy, we can do that. But it's those weird like shots with the silver tran and the squids and the flipping sit-ups.
yeah.
I'm like, how am I gonna do that? And that'll probably just be an animated still that'll look good. Watch Out 2, someone said we should do that, but every part is played by JT, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
But now I don't know if I should be running around in like a China dress.
Well, my initial thought for Watch Out Part 2 was we already have Yoshitaka. He's an established character, but Matt, his name is, he's out in the mountains, so I don't know how open he would be to performing in another video. And then the other character could be this guy called Ryan, another Ryan that we know. He goes by Codemaster on Discord. He has a DJ get up, and he's got like a turntable set and stuff. So really, the only person we would need would be the girl in the China dress.
You guys have, I think, access to a lot more characters.
Well, I mean,
actual humans.
yeah.
So
So we really need, what we need to do, and what we've been trying to say from time to time, is to fly you back down here so we could do like the another Mitsuru video. But I don't know how much of the outfit you have left over.
I think I have it all. It's in a Tupperware in my closet.
Nice.
I know I did
Ju-
send you back the scarf at one point because you
Yeah.
didn't need it.
And I was like,
video, Sayonara Super.
Yes,
well, that one we kind of did in real life with at ASEN in reverse. I said, oh, it's reverse, because was that the one where everybody gave flowers?
Yeah, everybody
Damn.
gets flowers, and then they do like the little scene at the end where they do the
Yeah.
fast cuts.
We had when Korsky was at my DJ So Bad booth at the time, or was the Synergy booth? I forget which booth he was at. But we played the song, and then when the part came out, like I came out from behind this like curtain and like had a bouquet of flowers for him, and he's just like, "Hey man, it's backwards. Should be giving these to you."
That's awesome. All
That
right.
was that. And then, but yeah, next up, I've got it. Let me see if I can grab a picture real quick on Facebook. The only other one that is half, like everything's prepped and ready, just haven't done it yet, is Facebook changed how their pictures look. Here we go. Is Starmine.
Yeah, that one was one of those lost projects.
And I've got the picture done. I've got the costume done, and does it have to be me? I think it's got to be me in the video.
Yeah.
Trina doesn't want to do that, which is fine because there's a lot of dancing involved, which is part of the fun. It can't be good. It's got to be kind of hokey, and let's see. This is probably it. Yeah.
There you go. Spider star. Mine.
And he was thinking of doing a Dr. Bombay costume for one, because I have the Aladdin hat that you see on the Gloomy video.
Mhm.
So I gotta do that, but I didn't want to grow out just the weird facial hair that he has, and brown face is frowned upon, so I don't want to do that either.
Yeah, given today's political climate, it might not be a great idea.
So
It
I
doesn't
think
have to be a
it's,
real beard.
well, I already have one. I did, and I grew it out one time for like a Pokemon Lysander cosplay. And I didn't like how it looked. But we can just slap a carpet on there. But as soon as I think spring has sprung, which is taking its sweet time here in Chicago, I just think I need to get an outside shot of me on like a Razor scooter instead of trans-futuristic, like a moped or whatever she's driving in that. Because I took 4th of July firework. I got the fireworks videos. I don't even need to rip those off from online. I got them ready to go. I just need to throw up this green screen.
Yeah, missing some footage to finish it up.
Yeah. So that's probably going to be the. Well, I think that's what could be the next one.
Serena,
But,
you have to encourage him to get out there and do it because I want to see, I want to see this final video.
Yeah, me too. I really want Starmine to happen.
And I mean, there hasn't nothing from like Shinobuzz or Cannonballers that really stood out, unless there's something like one of the most recent that you guys have seen.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Snaky Kung Fu was like came out of nowhere, which that would be the most recent one. But again, it's always we have to balance like what is doable first and foremost, but like what spin can we do to make it ours.
Right.
And it's like you said, like we don't necessarily want to do like a straight copy of the outfits. You know, we want to have our own spin on it. So
And the other thing I'm always just like, for doing Watch Out Part 2, I'm like, where am I gonna get that big white room? Because that would be obviously the easiest to just
Right.
shoot it in without having to trust the old green screen. Oh, speaking of green screen, 12 style is always like, I'm even thinking it would be a real big nice group project to do for something like Raj, where everybody's in their own shots. You know, it's just like everybody's in it. It's just like, 100 people. Okay, you're in this shot, and next group is this, and we can shoot it piece to piece. But nobody ever wants to let me do it, and I'm not expecting Anthony to let me sit on his machine.
Yeah.
That's
Which
exactly
is
why
where-
Andy always, what Andy always kept us from doing it. We brought it up ourselves too.
And one of the things like, oh, just green screen yourself sitting on it. And I'm, no, man, it's gotta be real.
It's got to be
So
real.
that's but that one, I mean, I think we could do now and modernize it. Just bring in some of instead of the text, it says like, oh, it's not. You can't play with your feet. It's not dance. 864. We can say it's not Dance Evolution, or this is not a touchscreen. Go play. Reflect Beat or something like that.
Yeah.
And make references to the current games.
And do Dance Rush, U-Beat, like that would be a good way of doing it. And Anthony has most of those games too. I mean, it could be something that we do at Raj. It would not be a bad idea. We'll talk more about that.
Right. Well, that's I'm thinking this could be there's plenty of months, and everything else we've slapped together in a matter of days. So if we actually get more than a month of pre-production and people like, planning and kind of signing up and calling dibs on scenes and things like that, we can even make a whole day. And of course, if it doesn't totally just hog a machine for a tournament, that would ruin the whole thing too.
Right.
But
No,
if it
yeah.
just happens, someone happens to buy an extra machine. Just for this.
The games are 24 hours, so at Raj,
Right.
and they're at specific times. So we could always do like, hey, let me
Saturday 4 a.m. It's the
let's hog
it's the 12 style.
2DX for like 30 minutes or something.
Orgy.
Yep, everybody just gets in line, and okay, you eat the pasta, you got the full belly, and I just want to do the one, the choo-choo train swirly, everybody standing in the line, like that chicken emote that I sent to you. I don't know if you can rip that, but there's a shot of that, and doing that with literally everybody, as many as possible, would be funny, like a 40-person line, just going all the way down it.
We'll I'll storyboard it and we'll figure out ideas and stuff. We can talk more about that.
Because that's something I think everybody could throw. This is what it originally said, but nobody knows what, Dance Rush is anymore, or anything like that. So, or with Dance Rush, nobody knows what Dance Channel is or whatever it's called, Dance FM. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, Yaro Yo.
So that's always, again, one of the many ones that one of these days is gonna come out.
One of
We're
these
gonna do it.
days.
So look forward to that.
I should also plug your shirts, man.
Oh, my shirts, yeah. Again, another thing, somebody would say like, "Hey, you know what would be funny?" And then I was like, I'm not out here to make money, and to be honest, I can't personally vouch for the build quality, but I know I've seen enough people that have done shirts like this without people, just sourcing and making their own and then selling them. But yeah, just like, hey, here's an easy thing that enough people use, and I can just throw something up there, and if people buy it, great.
Yeah, we should mention that not Coors K, aka John Hamm, bought his Bad Random shirt, and he was actually wearing it during the golf tournament.
And that's
He wears
awesome.
that all the time. He wears it like 3 times a week.
And again, that was just, I think at the time I was sick of people complaining at the arcade at the time, like, oh, I got a Bad Random, so I'm gonna quit. And I'm just like, dude, it's it's just like a pad miss. It's like, I get it, but it can't be your whole, not every game. So I was just like, I got the font, and I was like, here we go. I'm gonna make this real quick. So I'm glad that he is one of only 2, according to my metrics here, that have bought that. Only 2 of that should have sold. So he's
John
one
will
of the 2.
John will be happy to know that he's a owner of a very unique piece of clothing.
Rare.
By far
Streetwear.
the most popular is the scribbly bass drop Shriek Girl.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't even remember why I decided to do it.
It was a music game hell thing, I'm sure.
Yeah. I was just like, here you go. And yeah, I don't want to poke the random versus non-rand bear too much, but I figured it's Bad Random is funny because it in and of itself is a term that most people use.
Wasn't it because Ivan Young was trying to sell his bass drop freak shirts?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that might have been it because
Yes, it was.
it was literally just the graphic, nothing.
It really was.
So I was like, you got to do something. You can't just lift the graphics and put it on a shirt without not getting caught. So yeah, it's just like, oh, here we go. And I think I spent more time, like 10 times on the face, getting it just right versus the rest of the body. Okay. I just scribbled that, and then I was like, oh, this face has got to be just right. So you can tell I'm just using the default like Photoshop brush.
Right, yeah, the default brush. Serena, do you want to plug anything? I know you're doing.
Post my Facebook page for my art. I've done some 2DX art recently.
Let me see if I can find that.
Not a lot, not as much as I'd like to because I'm in school, so I don't have all the time that I want. But I've had some commissions recently that were 2DX girls, so I guess I haven't even posted the last one that I did, the Love Shine art, but I will.
Here's her Facebook art page, and did you do art for a video? No.
No, she did art.
I keep asking her to.
Oh, I did art for the little
Oh,
flamingo.
yeah, the Monster Hunter, Rathian pink shrimps. She did the drawing for this. So let me get the. I knew there was something.
She's a pretty good artist, so if you need something commissioned, I might be talking to you. We have a bit that I want to do at least once a month, Serena, where we animate Wirt's dreams. Wirt has
I
weird
love
dreams.
that.
So I'll probably get with you later to talk about maybe commissioning something for that. So
That would be so cool. The drawing you posted is I drew it of Yushie after seeing her at ASIN, and I sent it to her on Twitter, and she never saw it, never said.
oh, that's so
So
sad.
But now we see it. We all see
yeah.
it here.
So thanks for posting it. So someone sees it.
But yeah, I was thinking if we don't want to copy the style for the 4 girls, instead of doing like Bisco or whatever, it could be 4 other 2DX girls or 1 2DX, like Celica or somebody, and then Bisco, and then Nyami, and then Racist.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know, the 4 main girls, or just do something like the Mambo Go-Go Cactus and Devil Zukin. That's That's what I
Photo
know.
Bear.
Yeah. And then Usao-kun. That's what we need.
There you go. Taking it old school, man. Dead Beatmania games, unlimited.
And if I always try to make things as not plug and play, but it's modular, so I can just replace one file, and all of a sudden it's a completely different. I can just put a new drawing in there and it'll animate. That's what I always try to do. Although I never made two of the same videos. That's always the goal.
Good. All right, we're actually over. We're over
Oh no,
by 30 minutes.
Well,
That's okay.
I don't want you to cut too much.
No,
Gavin.
I'm pretty much not going to cut anything because unless you specifically want me to cut something.
No, I think we're good. Yeah, this is not too rambling. Like we don't need to hear him talk about
No,
bad random shirts or things like that.
I appreciate your time with us, Justin.
Yeah, and if you're, I think the next big event is going to be ASEN. So if anybody comes out to that, we'll be I'll just be taking pictures or, in the game room, playing some games, following Tokyo Attack around. Don't know if we're going to be at MAG. We're not MAG, because MAG's gone. Colossal Con. That was a rigmarole and a half. So I don't know if we got a room for that. If we don't hit up, definitely we're trying to get to Raj, but it's way too early for me to put in time off request.
Right.
And they're just gonna look at me like, what? That's December. But you never know. Otherwise, maybe Gen Con, if you're in the indie area and you like board games too.
Great.
Oh, I guess lastly, speaking of Serena and throwing stuff out there, I can actually remember it. Drop. That video of the girl with the treasure map.
Where she throws the balls in the air?
Yeah, throws the balls in the air, and then like one of them is gonna land on her head, and we just need to find a Mayan pyramid. And
Oh, that's simple. You got those in
as
your
soon
backyard.
as soon as like Serena drew those crayon Rathians for the video, I was like, oh, I know what looks like crayon doodles. These little squiggly monsters that'll chase you around. We'll probably go down to like park, like by the Bean or something instead.
Right, yeah.
Because it says like in the bottom, it says like, oh, filmed on location in Ueno Park or some obscure thing.
That's awesome.
Or go to somewhere real obscure. Not obscure, but like Stone Mountain
Yeah,
or
like-
something. That's
Come down to, we have a Stone Mountain in Atlanta, so you can come all the way down here.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you very much. It's been awesome. Thank you, Serena, too.
Thank you.
And thanks for doing this, guys. Keep it up. I hope we can keep the party going.
Yeah, I'll keep it going for as long as we have that stuff to talk about. We have a
Yay.
we have a document. I think next week is going to be pretty open, so after the show's over, we'll talk about talk about next week. But we have a link I've been sharing to people, and they've been giving their ideas. So we've got ideas for at least the next couple months, if not
Nice.
longer.
But
But
yeah, just grab more random people and put them in the hot seat.
yeah, man. I'm playing the
Yeah.
theme song right now. You guys can't hear it, but I'm playing it, and it's awesome. But yeah, thank you again. Thanks everybody for listening. Thank you for people who stuck in the room. We had a couple people leave. That's okay. You were here, and we will see you again next week. We're gonna return to the schedule on a Wednesday at 9 p.m. We'd record this one Thursday, so we'll be on hopefully on the 25th. So signing off. It's Cyber with the Georgia Music Gamers Podcast. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you next week.
Goodbye.